Today we're going to be talking about how to solve absolute value equations. But before we can solve equations, we need to make sure we understand exactly what absolute value is. So I know a lot of you guys, in your mind, you probably just think, oh, absolute value is just positive. And that's not necessarily wrong, but it's just not good enough in terms of really understanding what it means. So I just want to do a little quick review of what it means. So the absolute value of an expression represents its distance from zero on a number line. Okay, its distance from zero. And so that's why, for example, when we have something like, what's the absolute value of 5? Well, that basically what that is asking is, how far is 5 from 0 on a number line? So the distance is 5, right? And that's why when we have the absolute value of -5, what that's asking is, how far is -5 away from 0 on a number line? Now, when we talk about distance, it's always positive. So that's why the absolute value of -5 is also 5, right? Now, when we talk about solving an equation, so let's do a real basic equation, like absolute value of x is equal to 5. So now this equation is asking you, what values of x would cause the absolute value of it to equal 5? Or in other words, what numbers are 5 units away from 0? Okay, so this is asking, let me write that down. What numbers are 5 units away from 0? Okay, and so that's why that there are two answers, right? X could be -5, which is 5 units away from 0 on the left side, or x could be +5, which is 5 units to the right side. Okay, so there are two possible answers there. Okay, now let's start looking at these problems that are in the book here. Example 1, absolute value of x minus 4 is equal to 6. Okay, so now, instead of it just being x, we have this expression x minus 4, right? We have this. So now, what it's asking is, what does x minus 4 have to equal in order for the absolute value to equal 6? So, x minus 4, oops, sorry about that, change back to this. So, x minus 4 could either be 6 units away from 0 on the left side, or x minus 4 could be 6 units away on the right side. So with absolute value equations like these, we end up with two possible solutions. So this one, when we add 4, we get x equals -2. And this one, when we add 4, we get x equals +10. So those are the two possible solutions. Okay, let's do one more. So the absolute value of 3x plus 1 is equal to -5. Okay, so now this one is asking, for what values of x would 3x plus 1 be -5 units away from 0? Well, that question doesn't even make sense, because it's not possible to be a negative distance away from 0. Distance is always positive. So absolute values cannot equal -5. So since this is not possible, this one has no solution. So you don't even have to do any work here, right? Once you understand what absolute value is and knowing that it cannot equal -5. Okay, so now I'm going to write down 3 monitoring progress problems for you guys to try. And then I'll pause it so you can work on it a little bit, or you should pause it, I should say, so you could work on it, and then unpause it to see the answers. Okay, go ahead and pause it and work on it now. And here are the solutions. All right, now we have just a little bit extra meat on the bone here. So before we evaluate what's going on with the absolute value, in this problem we have this extra -10 that is attached to the absolute value. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of that -10 by adding it to the other side. Okay, so once you get to here, now it's the same thing that we did for number 1 or example 1, and now we're going to do the splitting, right? So the expression 3x plus 9 could either be equal to negative 6, or it can be equal to positive 6. Right, so the distance can either be going to the left, or it could be going to the right. Okay, so both negative 6 and 6 are 6 units away from 0. We subtract 9, and then we divide by 3. So x is negative 5. Over here, we subtract 9, divide by 3, and those are the two solutions. Okay, and here are 3 more problems for you to try. All right, go ahead and pause this now, and then unpause after you've tried the problems. So here are the solutions. Notice the third problem, number 6. It's pretty complicated. You need to peel off one layer at a time in order to solve that problem, and that's what I did. So you can see the first thing I did was I added 3 to both sides, right, to get rid of the minus 3. And then I divided by negative 2 on both sides in order to get rid of the negative 2 in front of the absolute value. And then once I got the absolute value, then I split it, right, where it could either be negative 4 or positive 4, and then solve it. All right, we'll see you tomorrow for practice on this stuff.